Coming up on today's show, we're going to explain why the Seattle Seahawks defense will shock the NFL in 2025. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We're going to let you hear what one NFL insider had to say on Seattle's potential on the defensive side of the ball. And I'm going to tell you, folks, you're going to like what you're about to hear coming up momentarily. Before we do that, folks, if you believe in Mike Mack and the Seahawks defense, I need you to like today's video. Who knows? Maybe Mike Mack is watching. Somebody close to him is watching today's show. We want to make sure our voices are heard loud and clear, that we are all in, that we think this defense is legit. Too legit to quit. Like the video, folks. Let's get at least 1,000 likes on today's video, and let's show some belief. This defense, it's the real thing. I believe. Show us that you believe with those likes, and we'll get going here. So the Athletics' Derrik Klassen, he did an interview with Seattle Sports Radio within the last couple of days, and Klassen does a really good job as an insider covering the National Football League, and he gave a pretty interesting perspective when it comes to Seattle's defense and seemed to be very high on what this group can accomplish here in 2025. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over the highlights of Klassen's segment on Seattle Sports and show you what he had to say and react to it. So let's begin with this from Klassen. He believes that this Seattle Seahawks defense is among the best of the best in the National Football League. And that is, as of right now, without making a trade for a guy like Trey Hendrickson, without adding a Jalen Ramsey or a Jair Alexander who ended up with other teams here. No, just as is. At this very damn moment in time, Klassen believes this could be the NFL's number one defense in 2025. And think about this for a little perspective, my friends. Just a few years ago, not even that long ago, we were talking about this being a bottom five defense in the NFL. The final year under Pete Carroll, this defense was a disaster. It was a laughingstock. It was a joke. By the end of last year, folks, Mike Macdonald had this defense from 0 to 100 real quick, as they were a top five defense by the end of the year. So the work has been put in, and they have seen, to get biblical with you here, the fruits of their labor pay off. More from Klassen on what he's talking about here. I think there's a chance they can be the best defense in the league. And that's something. They've come a long way, but the job is far from finished. They got a long ways to go, but I do love that enthusiasm, just hearing that this defense as is, without adding anybody, just with mostly bringing the guys back you already have. Yes, you brought in DeMarcus Lawrence, drafted Nick Emanwari, but the starters, for the most part, are the same that they were a year ago. And another year under Mike Macdonald, that's a big effing deal, my friends. Be honest with me. Can the Seahawks have the best defense in the NFL? Do you agree with the assessment made by Derrik Klassen? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comment section. Tell us what you think one way or another, if you believe the Seahawks can have the best defense in the league or not. Folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to Seattle Seahawks Today as we bring you our daily news and rumors. We also have our live shows 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have interactive Q&A mailbags, the latest on your favorite team. It's all right here on your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe now for free. Never miss a moment, whether it's breaking news, whether it's a live show. You want to make sure you're subscribed and alerted when we have that new content on the channel. Best part about it, 100% free. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. That's YouTube.com/SeahawksTV to subscribe now. Number two on the takeaways from Klassen, he has trust in Mike Mack's defensive scheme. Mike Macdonald was dubbed as the Sean McVay of defense when he was named the Seattle Seahawks head coach, as a bit of a wonder boy of sorts, right? That not only is a genius, but He's so young at this, right? Much like Sean McVay to that extent. And the way that Klassen described Mike Mack, one of the things that he pointed to was not just the scheme, but the decision-making from Mike Macdonald, that he is a brilliant play caller. Now, let me tell you this, folks. Let me give you a little perspective for a moment. Typically speaking, I personally am not high on my head coaches calling plays. To me, there's typically more bad than good that comes out of that. You usually want your coordinators to call the plays and for your head coach to be able to see the game from both perspectives and to be able to help coach on both sides and let their coordinators do their jobs. But because Mike is so brilliant and so good at this, there are exceptions to the rule. It is very rare, folks, that we see at the college or pro football level coaches that call plays end up as Super Bowl champions. Andy Reid's and Sean McVay's do not grow on trees. It's typically not a system for success. But when you have a one-of-a-kind mind like Mike Macdonald, then it makes a little more sense that you can get away with it. More from Klassen on Mike Macdonald. It just feels like they are never in the wrong call. And that's kind of a hard thing to quantify. But if you watch other defenses, and every now and then you just feel like, oh, man, they shouldn't have blitzed there. Oh, man, they really shouldn't have ran man coverage there. It feels like Mike Macdonald does the opposite. It just all feels like they have the right answers at the right time. There are very few defensive coordinators where it feels like they are on the front foot against the offense. And Mike Macdonald, to me, is one of those guys. I think he teaches the secondary very well, and he brings his pressures in a way that is very smart. I have no doubts whatsoever in Mike Macdonald. If we were to pinpoint some of the issues and the concerns about this Seattle Seahawks team entering 2025, Mike Macdonald is not one of those. You could say, sure, the offensive line. Maybe you don't think they have enough edge rushers potentially, or maybe you're not a fan of Sam Darnold. Maybe you don't think they have enough receiver help. Of all the issues that you could raise here, Mike Macdonald is not going to be one of them. Seahawks, I don't think they have 99 problems, but Mike Macdonald ain't one, and a bitch ain't one either. So they're in good shape. Mike's the right guy. And, you know, I would also say this to Mike Mack's credit. He had a fantastic first season. 10-7. Co-champions of the NFC West was a really good year. The problem was, for Mike Mack, nobody was talking about it because this team missed the playoffs. And there was another guy by the name of Dan Quinn in his first year with the Washington Commanders that happened to take his team to the NFC Championship game. That kind of overshadowed the good job Mike Macdonald did. But there's no doubts about Mike Macdonald, in my opinion. I think he's doing a great job. How would you grade the Seahawks defense entering 2025? What do you think of this group as is without adding anybody? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in the comments section. Tell me what you think about this group. A, B, C, D, or F? Chime in the comments section and let us know. Folks, got a great deal we're offering right now. Nike Seahawks t-shirts are on sale now for $15.99 at chatsports.com/SeahawksT. It's very rare we're talking about Nike and cheap in the same sentence, but here we are, folks. Just $15.99 is all. It's getting hot outside. You need some gear to represent your favorite team and represent the Seahawks at the same time. Why not get one of these fantastic shirts? chatsports.com/SeahawksT to get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. We also have other Seahawks merchandise available as well. chatsports.com/SeahawksT to get yours now. So another thing that Klassen talks about is the defensive line, in particular the defensive tackle spot. And what Klassen points to is he believes the defensive tackle unit for the Seahawks, in his words, is insane. Here's more. This defensive tackle unit might be insane. Leonard Williams last year obviously was one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He played at truly an all-pro level. And then I think there's a chance that Byron Murphy really takes a step and is something similar to what Mike Macdonald had in second-team All-Pro Justin Madubuike in Baltimore. There are obviously some other good players on the defense, but I really think that defensive tackle room, if this is the best defense in the league, it's going to be because of those guys. I look at the defensive line, and I think this is a great group. This is the best defensive line that we have seen for Seattle in a number of years. And we don't have to go back very long, folks, when the defensive line for Seattle was the bane of my existence. Remember those days when they struggled to stop the run? And we kept saying to ourselves, it's that damn defensive line letting Seattle down again. And credit where credit's due to John Schneider and company, they've invested. Starting with Jaron Reed, who has turned out really solid for them. He's been worth every penny. Then you bring in Leonard Williams at the trade deadline. Leonard Williams looks like the most underrated defensive player in all of football. And then Byron Murphy. His numbers weren't earth-shattering last year, but we saw what happened when he was not on the football field and how much that defensive line took a step back. There are some depth concerns, but at least with the starting three, I think you're in really good shape with this group and their capabilities and what they could potentially get done. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And these guys are going to be the bread and butter. They're going to be leading the charge, and I think you're going to like what you see from them here in 2025. What's your confidence level in the Seahawks defensive line? Scale it for me 1 through 10. How are you feeling about this group entering 2025? Weigh in the comments section and let us know what you think. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time right here on Seattle Seahawks Today.